record and table in PowerQuery, right? And let me show you from the documentation, Microsoft documentation. Okay. To be nicer to have shown you what list and table, but nonetheless, I have examples to walk us through, right? So let me write on my own notepad. This is not the kind of documentation I'm looking for. So let us write. Where's my writing pad? Then we'll go and do the example straight up. So my writing. So in PowerQuery, right? We all understand, oh, you know, there can be text, there can be number, there can be Boolean, there can be, actually in PowerQuery, date is a different data type, unlike Excel where, or Power, or the DAX model side where date is actually a number. In PowerQuery, date is another data type in itself, right? So apart from those ones that we all know, there is the other ones that many of us do not, I won't call them data type, but they are another way of you handling your data that is in its own self a category, right? So there is a, which should I start with? Okay, let's start with lists. There is lists, there is record, and there's one all of us are very familiar with already, even if you have never thought of PowerQuery this way. There's the table, right? So we are going to walk through all of them. So let me start with lists. Okay, not a problem. See, when you are doing lists, it's always, apologies if my curly bracket is really funny. I used to struggle with writing those things. So for a list, that is how you create a list. It is always in that curly bracket. Then for a record, it is always in the brackets. I used to call this square bracket, but then some people say this is bracket, that the one that I'm calling bracket, the curvy one, is actually parentheses. Okay, all right. But then if you are like me, if you're already used to calling it square brackets, chop knuckle. Okay, so tables. As for table, it's most times you are not creating table from scratch because most times you are importing data into PowerQuery. It's already instantly formatted as table. So many of us, we keep seeing the table sprinkled here and there in our, when you're looking at the queries that is generated underground, under G, in our Power Query when we are doing transformation. Many of us never needed to type it out from scratch, right? So let's go to these ones that many of the times you are typing this out or you are doing something unusual like creating them. So how do we create lists? Let's hop in to Power Query. I've done some things. Okay, so let me create a new Power BI instance. So there's something I've cooked that you're going to enjoy. That's what I was trying to perfect when you join. You know, so stay to the end. If every other thing I'm saying at the start is boring, just get yourself a nice cup of your favorite drink. You know, if it's alcohol, sip it slowly so that you don't get drunk by the time I get to the part that I really want you to follow. So creating a new, I'm going to keep down because even me, I can't remember very well all my steps. So I need to go and do some copy and paste. So this is Power BI, right? Because we are going straight to the query side, what am I doing? I'm clicking on transform data. So I'm clicking on transform data. Then, as we expect, the query side is coming up, the Power Query editor. So everywhere is blank, everywhere is empty, it's like, you know, a desert, right? So what do? I want to create blank query. I want to code from scratch. scratch. Yeah, we are now like pro. We don't import anymore. We code from scratch. So let's start with an example that will be list, right? So an example around list. So I'm just going to call this list. List. As usual, equal to, where's my equal to? Equal to, remember what I told us, list has that curly brackets. So my own keyboard is very funny. I need to go and change my language first. Then I'll choose English. Didn't change. Change. English. Okay, great. So that's really where I can get the curly bracket out of my keyboard. So I put the curly bracket. So you can type whatever you want to type. I can type, I don't know, let's type numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And boom. Once you do that, you get a list. So whenever you do a list, you get these context-aware options, this transform, right? So every time you are working in PowerQuery, maybe because the model side is more tuned to table. So you see, when you create a list or when you import a list, you will always be seeing this option of, do you want to transform into a table, transform to a table? We are not going to transform, we deliberately created it. So let me just use this to get us getting familiar with lists and records and all of them. So I'm going to say that so we've done this one. Let me show us some other nice things about a list. If you do a list of I want to do 1, 2, 3 to 5. I don't need to type it out exactly. I can do 2 dots, and I'm going to get the same outcome. If I want it to 15, without 2 dots, it's going to auto increase to 15. So this is a list. We'll come back and start doing some efficiency on it, but let's gradually go to something else. And by the way, a list can have, it's not always like it must be number. I can, in my own list, decide to do, I need to change my language back. I need to change the language back to Italian. So I can come in here, say Michael, comma, John, comma, Emeka. So you get the whole idea. You can put in different things. I can with number. Hey. Somebody has joined and forgot to unmute. Let me help the person on mute. Forget to mute. I'm trying to look for the person so I can meet the person. Okay, maybe somebody else helped me with that. So let me carry on. Someone has muted me. It's not me. You should mute the person helping us to mute. Don't mute me. Mute any other person that is not me. Okay. I don't know how much you've missed out of what I've said. So I said I'm going to create another one from scratch, but this time around it will be record. And I told us what record starts with. So record. I hope you are hearing me. Okay, great. Let me just check here. Sorry, I want to just check if anything has popped up in the chat box. Let me on Zoom and check here myself. Okay, great. I'm going to switch this here. I'm using like many screens. Are you present? You can't see my screen. Hey, thank God I'm checking. Can you see my screen now? Should I reshare? Should I go off and come back on? Can you all see my screen? Can anybody confirm?
Can see your screen. Can see your screen.
Okay, all right. So when I check now, I was like, I've not checked for a
while.
But
you're not. There's nothing. It's just a blank screen.
Okay, good. Okay, yes, you are seeing my screen. That's a confirmation you see my screen. Okay, so let me quickly do the one for record, right? And then we'll see how we can begin to do some things more interesting afterwards. So record. For record, it is actually a bracket or square bracket if you are like me. Okay, so record allows you to it's like you are creating columns. That's just the thing. Everything you write in a record is ending up as one row and multiple columns. So I could say first name. In fact, you don't need to put it in a quote. I sometimes used to forget that, but you don't need to. So I can say my name is Michael. What about my I'm not done. My last name. Last name is Olafusi. What more can I add? My gender. Maybe I'll add something that is also related to, that is not a text. So my gender is male. And what other things? Say my age. My age is, ladies say sweet 16, we were sweet 17. Okay, so that is, it arranges it as if it's like multiple rows and one column, or how you interpret it, but no, that's not it. It is actually all columns. Maybe I should prove that to us. I didn't prove it correctly, but anyway, I'm going to undo that step. Technically, it is all a column, so just have to trust me that all of these, I mean, technically all of these are different columns. Okay, so this is a record. Then let's go to a table. Let's try and create a table from scratch. So a table from scratch, it's very rare you'll be doing that, but then we'll do it together so you begin to understand at the bottom, at the grassroots of what you are doing, what is actually happening. So I'm going to rename this as a table. Then we're going to do something really interesting. Remember, I said you should stay to the end. So don't go. If you have a friend, tell your friend to come, like drag them in now. We're getting to that point where you'll be very happy, this thing I want to show you. Even me, myself, I'm happy. I was very happy when I found out that it was possible. And it's not that complex to do. So when you want to do a table, you have to do hash table. So a table is actually like list inside of lists. That's the way I like to explain it. So I need to do that. I need to change my language again. Change my language so that I can get the curly brackets. Okay. So I'm going to write, so like I mentioned to us, a table is a list inside a list. I need to spread them out correctly. Good. So I want this to be, okay, great. So I'm going to first of all write the columns. So the columns, I need to change my language again. Or let me see if I can, great. So maybe the column names are first name and trouble with this language. I'm going to use another keyboard. Just remember that I have a second keyboard. Yeah. Okay, problem solved. I've gotten myself another keyboard. So last name and comma gender comma, now this is a number, I don't need to age, which is, let me write it age. Yeah. So you first write out the column names, comma, then the content, right? So all of the content, the different rows, they have to be in their own curly brackets. So this is going to be the curly brackets for the contents. So that one above is for the header. Now this one that I'm doing below is for the content. Okay, so I'm doing for the content. Let me put my, I can be sure I'm seeing the chat box too. Okay, good. My head, this thing's chopping off my head. Great. So let's start. Player number or person number 1, Michael. Surname. Like I said, you should not be yet worried that how is this going to be useful. I will show you something interesting. Let's just go on. So just trust me. So this is person number 1, then person number 2. Well, let's write it again. Person number 2 is Muhammadu Buhari. So okay. So let's add a female. Huh? So let's add
Rachel.
Okay, let's add Rachel. Okay. Don't know the person's last name. Let me check if the person is in this. Uniga. Okay. I hope I spelled it correctly. Okay.
Yes, female.
Yes. No, they are always 16, so let's put 16 there. Let's see. I think this is good enough, right? So let me be sure I have closed all brackets because that's the place where this can go wrong. Anyway, the good thing is if we type enter, if we are wrong, it will tell us we've done something wrong. Okay, luckily we've not done anything wrong. So this is a table, but like I said, in real life, you will not, I don't think, it's only when I'm doing this like this that I'm creating table verbatim. I even create table verbatim in the DAX part, the Power BI model side than I do here. So I just want us to begin to understand that all these things exist, right? So now let's go to the very interesting thing I have for us. So the very interesting thing I have for us is, okay, problem number 1. I have, let me zoom my screen. So imagine that you work in a place where there are some people hell bent on making life difficult for you, as you know, maybe you work with data and they always keep inventing problem for you. So let me show you the kind of problem that we are going to be battling, right? So you all know, everybody knows, hopefully everybody knows that if I have a folder, and I'm putting different files in that folder, I'm putting different Excel reports. So let's use Excel report. It could even be CSV. And we all know that PowerQuery can combine them for us all at once, right? So that's what I want to enjoy. I want to enjoy the fact that, you know, I can go to PowerQuery and say you should combine all what is in those different folders, right? Let me see if I can make them good. So this is folder 1, file 1. Let me zoom. So this is file 1. This is file 2. Let us put the other person that we have as our volunteer name and female. I don't know. Let's give the person a different role. Maybe accountant. Now, I want to ask you a question. Are you noticing that are you seeing anything that can be a problem when we are combining this? Take a look at these two tables. Are you noticing anything that might be a problem? Let me save all what I've done. Anybody? You can unmute and say, you can chat, you can, anyone you want to
The
do.
header.
The header, right?
The headers.
The headers are not, is this synchronous or what is the grammar to use now? They are not consistent, right?
Yes, they're not consistent.
If I combine this, what do you think will happen if I combine them as they are?
It will definitely be an issue because they're not both the same header, so it will definitely be an issue.
It will bring multiple columns.
It will bring multiple columns. Okay, let's go and see for ourselves anyway. So I'm going to go to my Power Query. This is where we were. So let's go and do it together and see of all what you have said, what is going to happen. So I'm going to go to new source. I'm going to go to more. I'm going to pick a folder. It should have come up by now. Okay, it's coming up. So I am picking a folder. Great, picking a folder. I am clicking on connect. So it's going to ask me to browse to the folder. So I'm going to browse to the folder. The folder is in my downloads folder. Downloads. I called it Office Hour PBI something. Yeah, Office Hour 39 PBI. So I'm picking the folder. I'm clicking on OK. And let's see what is going to happen next. So it brings this out, right? Right. So we all know that usually this is like a shortcut. Use combine and transform. Since you know you're going to combine, this can save you stress. So instead of you having to be doing all of the manual steps, I can just come straight to, I say, well, I want to combine and transform, right? So it's going to ask me, well, let me not jump. Let's go at the pace of the computer. This is one of those times where I can be faster than my computer. Okay, so this is one of the things that usually will come in the like multi-step process. You're going to ask me that which sheet should it go and grab in all of these, all those files that are in that folder. So yeah, grab for me sheet 1. Grab for me sheet 1. Okay. So I go here, I say, okay. If you look at our sheet 1, this one is column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, column 5. Okay. So you've seen that, right? I click on OK. So let me unzoom my screen so that we see all that it is trying to do, and then we go evaluate the outcome. So the answer is coming out. Can you see the answer? Can you see my screen? Can you see what it has done? The PowerQuery has fired Rachel, so it's like Rachel is no longer working with the company. They have replaced our record with null. So something has gone wrong, obviously. And some people will think, I think maybe that's what Mr. Babajide was thinking, that maybe all the columns will come. So instead of us just seeing column 1, column 2, column 3, we'll also see the first name, and then we'll see that other person's data under that, and it will have null for this first file. Well, unfortunately, in PowerQuery, when you're doing this combined stuff, it is using your first, what you pick as your sample file. That's what it creates you as a sample file. That sample sheet we pick here is what becomes the marking scheme. Is what becomes what they will use to grade everybody else, right? So it has dropped all those other columns that are in those other sheets that are not in the marking scheme, if you permit me to use that word. So how can we fix this? Anybody have an idea of what we can do? What do you think? If you are the one having this problem, what will you do? There's no wrong answer as long as whatever you are saying can lead us to the answer. Yeah, what will you do? You must solve it. Nobody is going to grade you on your steps. It's the outcome that is important. What will you do if this is something you are facing? Let's say something. Anybody, somebody? What will you do? We've seen the problem. We know what it is we like to have. Just anybody wants to give an idea, a suggestion. Now, volume of your page. You remind me of what your program. It means so long that you get the test. And I would like to hear what Mr. Bajide wanted to say.
Hello? Hello?
Yes. Yes?
Yeah, we can do the adjustment from the formula. Maybe we just do editing from
the formula. I go to editing formula. When you say formula now, is it this one here? This one up here?
Yes, exactly.
Except you want to lead me, I don't know what I'm going to type here. I know. Let me not say what I have in mind. But if you know exactly what you want me to change here, then let's try it together. Let me read what other people have also said. So Ifeanyi is saying that, what if I go to the Excel, the source file, Abi? Is that what you mean? I should go to the original data and I should go and rename, make sure the names are the same as what is here. Yes, that will work. But then anytime those guys send you more files and you save it, you will be doing it. So it's no longer automated now. So that will be like last resort. It's like something you don't want to do unless you are sure there is no faster, or should I say more automated. So the formula one, I'll be interested in hearing what formula I can do. Mr. Babajide, what was it you were trying to say? Maybe we will hear you now. The other time it was static. It was as if maybe you didn't connect your headphone very well to the PC. Okay. If nobody is giving me any more ideas, so I will tell you the idea I have in mind.
Sorry, can I come in?
Yes.
Okay. Since you've created from the table you've created now, since you created an header using the DAX formula, you can just drop, when you're taking the queries, you can just drop the header. So from there, you know that the headers from the DAX is already the header. So you just remove those data you're getting from Excel, you just remove the header. You don't need, and that's what I would have done.
Oh, okay. I've not tried that one before. Let's try it together. So you are saying that, let's say I'm here. Let
Since
me,
yeah, since okay.
so if I go to the steps here,
Since you've created an header already.
let's say I'm stepping through one by one. In fact, let me see if I can zoom this all at once. Control Shift Plus. Okay, this is looking bigger. So I don't need to be doing that bigger zoom. So this is clear. Okay, great. So let's be stepping through. This is step 1, step 2, where it hid the hidden files. Blah blah. I don't know what this one is doing. So I think this is where it narrowed down to the files. Then this is where it expanded the table. So what you are seeing is probably between here and here, I guess. Or do I have to go to this place? So let's see, maybe
It's
here.
lagging.
Huh?
I said there's serious lagging right now, but continue. I can see it now.
Is it like the screen is not matching what
No,
I'm
that is
saying?
lagging. I think is the time there's lagging, a serious lagging right now. I can't get to you.
Okay, I don't understand it. Damilari, your hand is up. Yes, let me even hear while we're exploring this one. What's your own opinion?
Okay, so what I would have tried to do is in this step of transforming sample file,
Okay.
I won't promote the headers.
Okay, similar to what it is saying.
Yeah.
So we are here, right? What should I do? I won't do promote headers, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, let's try that. So I'll knock off promote headers. Okay. Then if I now go back here, let's see what will happen. Okay. That kind of worked. So we fixed one problem, we created another one.
Yeah, then well so the thing is you will then clean up this this particular file.
It's not me.
This particular
Yeah, the one that brought us here.
okay, so in column 4, you can remove rows that have errors.
That error is also okay. Let's see, but that error should not be there. Why is it showing error? Oh, okay. This one, right?
Yes.
That's
Since
really,
that column is meant to hold the age, so
yeah. Okay, that though is a bit of cheating.
well, you still get distribution.
Because what if I don't have a column that is number? If all my columns are text?
Well, so I mean, what I would then do in that case is to, is to just find something that can apply across. So the assumption. So my other option would be to remove the lines or the records that have headers. I mean, the records that hold the headers. So in this case, is column 1 and F name. So if the issue is a one-off issue, then that will solve it. But if it's a recurring issue and they always give different headers, then that becomes a problem.
Okay. So at least I like all the ways you are, because actually, if I didn't know what I came upon that I want to show us, this is what I'll be doing. So I'll be looking for patterns, and this one will have helped me a lot. This one of this age, it will have just made it work nicely. So I agree completely. You know, as much as I'm trying to look for what can break, because that's also the way I think about whatever I'm doing. Okay, this thing worked now, but will it work afterwards? Will it break? Will it? So let me just leave it back to what you said, and I think it worked. And I think that was also what Temidayo was trying to say, that we can not include the headers. I think that was the way he said it. Using work again. But anyway, so let me show us the way I have in mind. Okay, so the way that I have in mind, I need to go. Let's go and take this back to the way everything was. So this was promote, use first row as header, use first row as header. Good. So this was how everything was before. Okay, great. Let me take this one wrong. What has gone wrong again? I'm going to just delete everything. So let me delete everything, and then we'll start afresh, and then I will now do the fix that I want to show. So
for 1 second, let's check that. Or
what
the
did
transform? Remove chain type from transform sample.
Oh, I didn't even notice that one was there. Okay, great. Okay, perfect. Okay. It looks like we are back. So let me now show us the way, this was the way everything was originally. The way I have in mind, the way I want to show us is a nice reset. So if I know, though this one too has its own comma in case if you don't know what the fields will be. But if I know what the fields will be, why not just replace all the, whatever they are, replace the headers with what I want, with my own set headers, right? So I'm not going to rely on whatever header is coming from all those individual files. I'm just going to plug in the header that I want. So that's the way I want to show us. So let's get started. So I'm going to go here to this sample transform. Yeah, sample transform. I'm going to go to advanced editor. I need to zoom now so that. So what I want to do is here that it's going to happen. So I want to grab the headers as they are. So I'm going to call it old headers, or any name I like. So I want to grab the old headers. These old headers are equal to table dot column names. Table dot column names of that my table, which is where will I find this one? And promoted. You know how PowerQuery works now? When you want to pick something, you pick it by the name of the table is, how do I explain this now? I hope you understand it. I want to pick this. The outcome here is what I want to feed into here. I need to put a comma here to say this is not the last step. So great. So I'm picking the outcome here, right? Let me just show you what I mean. Let me close this. You see this outcome here, this promoted header, that's the outcome. Navigation is navigation. Promoted header is the name of the last stage, right? If I change this name to something else, that's what you will start seeing there. And if I pick it, I can, let me just come back here and show you. Since I'm not in a rush, maybe I should be in a rush now. Okay, so see, old names is equal to, let's even say is equal to promoted header, so that you understand what I'm promoted headers. Okay, then I say this thing should display the last it should display this. So if I do okay, so are you seeing what that you see? It's showing, it's working, like I'm referencing promoted headers and it's getting me exactly what's there, right? So, but that's not what I want. I just wanted to let you understand that when I grab this name, I am grabbing the entire table. So that's why this was showing the entire table now, right? So in this case, that's not what I want to do actually. I want to grab the existing table names. So the table table names. Sorry. Okay. So table dot column names. Then I put in it that. So this was what I was doing the other time that I wanted to explain why I was writing this. Yeah, so it has come up. So that will get me the names, okay? Now, I want to create my own new names. So I want to create my own new names. Now, these are my own new names that I want to create. Ta-da! It has to be a list. So now you can see where some of these things I was telling us begin to become useful, right? So lists. So I'm going to say first name. Let's go and even take a look at it so that you'll understand what I want. So first name, last name, age, sex, and job role. So that's the sequence. First name, last name, age, sex, and job role. Let me write that. So I'm going to come in here. Last name, last name, then age, then I think it's sex before age. Okay, it's age, sex. Okay, great. Oh, my student is turning my eyes. Let me just confirm very well. No, it is sex, the gender first, then the age after. So even this one is arranged wrong. Yeah. So I need to write the gender first. In fact, let me write gender. Gender sounds better. Then job role. Great. So this is the. So it's like I want to reset the. We can. Option 1, we can send a message to Power BI group. I'm just seeing the other amendments answer. Option 2, we can edit the sample file query. Okay. Option 3, we can suffer a bit. I think we are doing the option 3. So we are doing option 3 right now. We are suffering a bit. Okay. So where did I stop? So now I'm going to do a comma. So now that I've grabbed the new names, I want to swap them out. So I want to swap them out. For me to swap them out, there's this funny thing that the last time I encountered this was in is it HAR that has it? It's HAR that has it, zip. I think Python 2 has it. So anyway, so I'm going to say the name swap. I'm going to call it name swap. Name swap. I want to do a list. It's like a list of lists. That's the technical word. So I'm going to, it's called list zip. And so I'm putting like 2 lists inside. Okay. So I'm saying the old name first and then the new name, so that when I do the swap, it will work as I want anyway. So I'm going to say the old names, comma, the new names. Okay, so this has held for every old name, it has held the, whereas I had both the old names and the new names together. Okay, then I'm going to now do the actual swap. So I'm going to say I want my final table. Final table. In fact, if I want it to start looking like well, let me just write what's easiest for me. Final table. Final table is going to be equal to table dot. I want to rename the columns. Rename columns. That's why what I like about this thing. It helps you to autocomplete. So I want to rename the columns. What was the name of the table that I want to do the columns renaming on? voila, it is that our whole table promoted something. Promoted headers. So where is the thing that contains the old and the new names? So that's why I needed to have that name swap. So this is that one, name swap. Yeah. So I hope it works fine. If it does not work fine, I don't know what to do. Maybe I'll just fake network issue. So let me just take one last look to be sure that the logic kind of makes sense. Old names, I grabbed out the old names from the new names. I typed that yes, and yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me just confirm 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. How come my own is 6 now? Okay, it's 5. 1, 2, 3. Okay, great. Put both in the same list.zip. It looks okay. So let's do okay. I click on done. It's complaining about one thing. 2 arguments were passed to a function that expects 1. Okay, so let me go back and check what it is saying. 2 arguments are passed to a function that expects 1. So let's troubleshoot. Promoted headers, no problem. This, comma, this, that looks okay. The name swap, I have the 2 names. I've seen what is wrong. I forgot to put this inside curly braces. It's almost like you are programming. You know, we're creating a list of lists. I think that's the problem, if you ask me. So let's click on OK. So that was the problem actually. So I forgot to put that in the name swap. I forgot to put them in curly braces. Let's just take one last look at it so that you see the logic again. So with this, it has solved. Or let's go and see whether the problem has solved before we leave. So if I come back here, yeah, can you see the problem is solved? Right, so let's just take one look at it again so that you will understand, you know, what I have done there. I grabbed out the old names. So there's a formula for grabbing the column names of a table. Then I created as a list new names. Then I put both the old and the new names in another list. So for me to create a list of lists, you need to do list.zip. If you have used R and Python, then you might have come across zip. I think it's whether it's R, you can zip. It's Python actually. I think it's Python. You can zip lists. It's the same. I think that's where Microsoft took this whole concept of zipping. But it's like you're doing a list of lists. Then I now say, okay, so take my existing table and then swap the names, swap those column names. When you see the old names, put the new name. So that's what we did. Now that's one you've seen it work. I want to show you another magic. Ready? Actually, this let and in is a record. I've shown you lists, right? This is list. We've used lists to do something practically useful. Now I want to show you record. I don't know if this is practically useful, but it's exciting. Actually, let is a record. Let is a record. Just watch. I remove let. I put it, you know, record is a bracket or square bracket. Okay. So all these in, I knock them off. I close the bracket. Then this final answer that is going to display, put it in his own brackets. So what do you think? Will this work? What do you think? Just you look, if somebody sends you an M code and this is what he's sending, you are not seeing the let, you are seeing just this. Do you think it will work? Do you think it will work? Anybody? Maybe because I've said it will work now. Maybe if I had shown you and say, oh, what do you think is wrong with this? You'll be like, there's no letters, and I'll be like, it's nothing is wrong with it. Anyway, if I do close, so it works. Though it has a slight disadvantage, but it works. See, it's still working. So that's one thing about it opens your eyes to what you can do when you understand that let is actually a record underneath. Then the same things we can do with record, you can do with let. So let's go to a record and let's start looking at the kind of things you can do with a record. So if I have a record, right, I can query a record. I can say I want to know the value for the third item. So let's come in here. Let's add a new step. So in this is my new step. I'm going to say I want to grab. So for a record, you know, record is a square bracket or brackets. So everything starts from an index of 0, right? It's the place you think you will have problem, you will not have problem. It's the place you don't think you. Oh, sorry, my bad. For record, you have to use the name of the record. So, first name. I don't know what I was thinking. It is a list that you have to use the position. This one works by the name of the column actually. So I can say I want to grab the age. Okay. But in real life, you'll be using more of lists. So you must have noticed sometimes when we say, okay, if you don't want your in this transform table now, just because I have let me use this one here. You know, that thing we used to say and say, okay, what if you are not so sure that the person is going to keep the name consistent? You are not sure. Look at my Excel. My sheet is sheet 1 here. It's sheet 1 here. What if I have renamed it? What if here is not sheet 1? Here it is the persons working in our Abuja office, and here the people working in our Lagos office. All these kind of things used to cause problem when you don't understand that at the back end everything is a list. So if this is a situation where I've saved the files, I've saved them, save. If I go to our PowerQuery, it's going to start complaining. You will not understand again. So if I refresh now, see, voila has happened. Let us trace where the voila started from. So yes, he picked the file. Yes, he picked. Yes. Yes. This is where the problem started from. If I go here to the transform, sample transform data, let me just not bring back the let. You will see, because I removed the let and put brackets, right? All the steps have gone away. So let me just bring back the let and him and knock this one off. Okay, so the steps will come back now. Okay, the step came back. The problem is not with us here. The problem is with, you can see, it would have been nice if those steps were showing gradually as they were before. Okay, let me see if I can do something. Not a problem. I'm going to manually fix it. So let me just manually, then I'll show you. So if I rename this sheet to Abuja, it'll be great. So you see it's working, right? But if I come here, it's not picking these other guys on. Why? Because it's expecting Abuja. So what do we used to do? What we used to do is we tell it that you should not go by the sheet name, right? So we used to tell it that it should go rather by the position, the first sheet in the file. So regardless of the name of the sheet, you should just use a positioning. Now that positioning, guess how we used to do it? That positioning, I want to pick up something from my other file here. We're almost time up. Okay, I've seen what I want to pick from here. So what? All right. So anyway, back to here. I go to the place where it was picking the sheet name. I think it's easier to do from here. So we start going through it step by step. So it went through here. Then it decided that it's going to pick navigation item is equal to Abuja. I'll be like, no, no, no. See this, all of this, I can change it. If you look at this, take a look at this. Is this not a list? So you are saying go inside a list, right? Now, when you are talking about a list, this is it, this is that. So when we are talking about this, and we are saying grab the name of the sheet, I can say I don't care about the name of the sheet, right? Why don't you grab for me the first thing you see when you enter into that Excel file? The first thing you see, the sheet can be Abuja, it can be anything. Just grab that first thing that you see and then grab me the item inside. So when you grab the item is going to be Abuja. For the one that is not Abuja, it will be Lagos. But then that will be the thing dynamically grabbing for me what I need eventually. So what do we used to say? We used to say, okay, forget about all these explicit, just grab for me the first, you know. So when you put all these, remember when I was trying to use a record here, and it was not coming, I was putting 0, right? But I told us that if you have to put the title, the column name. So whenever you are using a table, whenever you are seeing something like this, the reason why the person had to put this, or the reason why PowerQuery has evaluated this to be inside a square bracket, a bracket, is because it wants to reference them by the column names. So if I'm not interested by the column names, I'm interested by the position of the record. Then I knock those ones off and say, get me the first record. The first record is 0 index, so it starts from 0. So I say, get me the first record. So when you get me the first record, right, what I want you to do is there's another way. Let me see if this one will work. If this one works, nice. Okay, I think it works too. There's another way, but this one works. So this one is nice. This one even saves me plenty of explanation. So yeah, so let me continue my explanation again, right? So you've seen it. I told you to just grab for me the first, and that's all. Since it worked, I don't need to go and do the other one I had in mind. So I'm happy it worked anyway. So more importantly, have you seen how when you understand all these lists and record, you can begin to adjust things as you like. So we're going to end it here. Any questions from anyone in the house? Any questions? Any questions? By the way, while you are thinking about whether you have question or not, let me even try the other thing I had in mind. The other one I had in mind was me typing item here. Let me see if that one too will work. Okay, cool. Okay, good. So I've seen more than one way to now do this stuff. This is really interesting. Any questions? Okay, if no questions, so at this juncture, we close the session. Thank you for joining, and do remember that for all of your training needs, as it relates to Microsoft Excel, Power BI, and financial modeling, check us out. That's what we do day in, day and night. Even in my dreams, when I dream, it is financial modeling, Power BI, and Excel. So, you know, by the time we train you, you too, you know it so well that they'll be coming up in your dreams. But that's what we do, and as you recommend people for our training and all, we will be able to, at least there'll be money for me to be able to show up on Sundays. Thanks. So I meant to say thank you for showing us index and matching the PowerQuery. Thank you. So have a very nice week ahead, and thanks for joining us. And just to let you know also too, we have more sessions coming up. Let me just show you the lineup. I think we even have Oga Ahmed next week. Let me just pull up the stuff. Yeah, I'm not mistaken. So we have some powerful people next week. Today should have been Sam Fisher, but he fell ill, so he couldn't join. So maybe it will be, we don't know what date it will come, but next week we have someone from Microsoft, Sudi. If you were around the last section, so he showed us around Office scripts, and it was amazing, and some people felt overwhelmed. So he said he's going to do another session where it will just be hands-on. He's not going to do too much talking. So that other one, he tried to walk us through all the new things, Office scripts. So this one is going to do purely just a demo for us. Then Oga Ahmed is going to, as usual, wow us and do some things that, you know, you'll be happy you are there. And then Chandu is very difficult to grab. Since last year, we've been chasing him. So in fact, as it is now, I have to go and email him and maybe look for his phone number, look for his LinkedIn, his Twitter, and message him and everywhere so that he doesn't forget. It looks like he's very, very overloaded with things. But if we are lucky and he doesn't forget, you know, we'll be having him on 30th, and another powerful person all the way from, I think he's from Pakistan. So he's going to show us some things amazing. So we need more people. You can see all these places blank and all these other places are blank. So we'd like to get more volunteers. And like I said, just teach us what you know. We are not asking for some crazy difficult things. Everybody has always been saying it. At least many people in the sessions have been having. They say the best way to know what you know is when you teach it. And me now, this list and record that I'm teaching us now, now is when I will know it better, because I used those things, that's brackets and square brackets, calling, they used to mix up in my brain. But now that I've taught it, it won't be mixing up again like before. So that's the thing. So try and volunteer to teach us. You can always email us at email me at mike@UrBizEdge.com. We actually also have a webinar team. So if you email any of the two of us, I would even prefer you email the webinar team so that it won't come to just me, right? Let me post it here. So once you email us, we can pick it up from there. So email us to volunteer as a speaker. We'll be happy. Whether it's Excel you want to teach us, Power BI or financial modeling, we are happy. We will gladly accept your invitation. No, gladly accept your, what's the word now? It's not, we are the one that will invite you, but knowing you are reaching us, your volunteerism, whatever grammar I'm supposed to use. So thank you very, very much, and have a nice week ahead. I hope you enjoyed today's session. Let me see if I can dump for us the practice file. Let me go grab the practice file. Save. We apply later. Office, our PBI 39. We are trying, this is the 39th edition. there was one time Sunday became my own Monday, became the day I used to dread. But now the ministry is moving. Let me just close and apply. Maybe I don't know what to look like when you apply. I think I might need to zip the folder too for you, right? So let me grab the folder too and zip it. Thank you, Mr. Anthony. Merci beaucoup. You always join our session. I'm always very,
thank you.
I'm always very appreciative. Every time I join and I see, I'm like, thank God. I'm always very.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. I want to just give us the files so that you can also practice. I think I need to rezip it because the files were open. The zip didn't work. Okay, good. I think it should work now. Okay, so now it has worked. Then let me check this one if it has saved. So I think this one too has finished. So I'm just saving it so that I can be sure nothing is broken. So I'm going to close, load it into, so I have something I use to share to all. So I'm going to upload it here, upload files. So I'm going to go and pick them, or pick the two files, this and this. I'm uploading them. Okay, so it will soon be done. It's done. So let me just refresh. Great, I've seen them. So I'm copying, I'm posting here. Hey, thank you all. I see all your nice comments. Mr. Chisholm is saying this is the first time he's seen PowerQuery. Wow, this is not the nice, like for somebody seeing it for the first time. This is not the, like, this looks intimidating as an example to use. PowerQuery is a lot easier than this. So. Okay, so I've posted the thanks to you too, Madam Bumi, thanks to everybody. So it's a pleasure having you all. I've posted the practice materials link, so you can always download them and check out what I've done and practice on your own. Have a nice week ahead. Au revoir. Bon